Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage the CEO of Unity, John Riccitiello.
Whoa! So good morning, everyone, and welcome to Unite Amsterdam. It's fabulous to be back here again this year. Now, everything you just saw up there is a game built on Unity, all on Made with Unity. An enormous number of platforms, an enormous number of great developers. We couldn't be more proud of the partners we have with all of you building games on Unity. Now, not focusing on the game so much, let's take a look back at where all this started. 2005, the Unity game engine was launched on the Mac. It was designed to make the developer's life easier and better. From this early start, Unity really began with its principles. We spent a lot of time talking about what we really stood for. And up here on the left is David Helgeson, and he coined the phrase democratization. And what he was talking about was putting powerful tools in the hands of developers, whether they can afford them or not. Now that is a phrase so easy to say today, a company with revenue and a global presence. But that was an idea that Joachim and David and Nicholas coined 10 years ago when they were pre-revenue. It is very hard to be committed to principles that are that expensive and that challenging without revenue. It was about vision and commitment, the commitment to stand with developers, to put developers first. Now, in this history of ours, going back to 2005, as I mentioned, we started on the Mac. But shortly after, Unity launched on the web player. In 2008, iOS, 2010, Android. And after years of hard work, there were 70,000 developers using the Unity platform every month. And that continued to grow. As you can see, by 2014, we were covering a huge number of platforms, 20 in total. And let's not forget, BlackBerry was among them. So we covered everything that was important in the world. And to give you a sense of where we were, at that point in time, 2014, there were 600,000 developers using the Unity platform every month. To give you some perspective, if you take some of the world's largest developers, like, say, an Activision, or an Electronic Arts, where they might have as many as 6,000 to 7,000 developers working in their organizations, this number dwarfs that by a factor of 60. It is huge. So a huge amount of progress with all these platforms, but it continued to grow. And today, there are about 1.5 million developers using the Unity platform every month. Or think about it another way. There's 1.5 million of you, creators, the builders of new visions, new games, new ideas, using the platform every month. We're very proud of all that you do, and we're very proud of where this has taken us. Now, our mission has really never changed, but it has expanded. It was originally democratization, and with Unity 5, we launched Personal Edition, which is the ultimate expression of democratization, the most powerful tools in the hands of developers, whether they can afford them or not. But it was also now about solving hard problems, solving the hardest of problems. And you'll see huge investments from Unity, and have seen huge investments in Unity, on things like high-end graphics and performance, VR and AR, creating content from within the matrix. And then lastly, enabling success. And that's really about helping you, the developer, build revenue through analytics and advertising. We recognize that as a developer, if you don't make money, you can't stay in business, and we're here to help you on that front as well. Now, as we have expanded our mission, we've tightened our focus. And we really try to do 4 things, and 4 things well. The first one is to help you with productivity. We want you to be more efficient in building games and launching games, creating the content that you see. We want to get you to more platforms easier than any other way, and the most leading and bleeding edge, which is why we cover everything from 2D to 3D, VR, AR. Unity is right there with you. High-end graphics. We want you to be able to create the most beautiful game you can imagine, the game that's in your mind, that achingly beautiful presentation of a game for your customer. And lastly, monetizing games. And again, I want to emphasize this point. We know how hard it is to make money in the game industry, and we're putting tools forward, whether it's our in-app purchase solution, it's our analytics package, or it's our ad solutions, to help you build revenue more easily than you would or could have before. Now, let me illustrate a little bit of what this is about. And this is a busy chart, but it shows you what we're doing in each of the 4 areas up here. And let me describe this last category a little bit more carefully. We now create analytic tools that help developers increase the revenue that they generate from IAP, in-app purchases. So this helps you optimize to figure out whether your game is developing the level of engagement that you need to sustain a relationship with a customer so that that user comes back, how to tune your game, using heat maps to figure out where there's problems in the game and when there's opportunities. It also helps you figure out where to put ads, how often to put ads in your game, and how to optimize revenue from that, and to figure out if the ad is a better choice for your revenue, or it might be better to cross-promote if you have a second game in the market. And what's interesting about all this is ads actually increase engagement. So we give you these tools because, again, we understand if you're bankrupt, you're probably not building the games you want. So it's come a long way. 1 principle became 3, 4 focus areas, and you're making more beautiful games than ever before. Let's take a quick look at a quick video to show you how far you've come. It's truly, truly amazing stuff. So I'd like now to turn to the market in which we all work, the games industry. Now, the game industry is full of opportunities, and you're actually in control. You decide what platforms to develop for, what games to put out there. And what's exciting is, as big as it is, it creates lots of opportunities for all of you. In 2016, it's estimated that the game market on a global scale will be about $100 billion in revenue. There's certainly a piece of that for you here. And mobile, for the first time ever, is now the largest portion of the market, bigger than console, bigger than PC. It's about 37% of the industry. And what I'd like to do is take a few minutes to talk about how you can succeed and thrive in each of these sectors, PC, console, mobile, and VR and AR. Now, a lot of folks want to tell you that the opportunity in mobile is dead, that the top of the charts is so fixed with a few main intellectual properties, a few main games, it's impossible to get there. Now, frankly, I disagree. I think there's lots of room for innovation. And I can't stand up here and give you a game design and say, make this and you'll succeed. But I can point at a couple of areas you can focus on that I think are likely to yield the best outcomes for you, or at least some of the best outcomes for you. They're not blue ocean, but they are super opportunities for you in the market for mobile games. Now, your smartphone is without doubt the most social piece of consumer electronics ever built. Think about it. You use it for messaging, you use it to make phone calls, you go on the internet, you do social applications. But it's interesting. Today, literally 90% of all mobile games are single-player games with virtually no multiplayer and no social. It's an incredible opportunity. Think back 20 years ago to the PC market or the console market when it was a single-player market. Today, these markets are literally 90% multiplayer and social. People would far rather play against a live human or with a live human instead of just against the AI. So the equation up here is pretty straightforward. Invest in multiplayer. invest in social, and I think you'll have a bigger opportunity than you can ever imagine. This is, in fact, where I believe mobile gaming is going over the next couple of years. It's not blue ocean, but it's almost there, and it's an opportunity for growth. Now, another thing I'd like to talk a little bit about is business model. Now, the history of this industry is pretty straightforward. It used to be about straightforward game product innovation. If your game was different, it succeeded. That's not the way it works at the top of the charts anymore. Now, at the top of this thing, on the left-hand side, there's a couple of acronyms. Let me explain what I'm talking about. In-app purchase, IAP, LTV, lifetime value. The top of the charts is dominated by companies that are playing a different game than most of us are. What they're doing is they're investing very, very heavily in analytics so they can understand their user and optimize in-app purchases. They're maximizing revenue minute to minute, second to second in their game by deepening engagement and drawing more revenue out of their users. They're taking that money, those dollars, and they're investing it in user acquisition. So they have a very sophisticated mathematical machine going on. They're extracting the maximum amount of money, and they're spending that money back to attract new users. It is working, and that's why they're staying at the top. Yes, they're great games, but the game that they're really playing is this game of recycling the money in order to stay at the top of the charts. And I'm here to tell you that the game is changing yet again. At the top of the charts, virtually none of the games incorporate advertising. So they're leaving money on the table. They're not optimizing revenue any longer. And the most innovative companies recognize that advertising is, in fact, driving engagement and driving monetization. So you can outperform these great companies if you take that innovative business model and use it to your advantage. It improves the customer relationship, it improves the revenue, and it gives you the dollars to spend on user acquisition. Now, I'd like now to talk a little bit about what is coming and what's out there that's working. One example in mobile is Next Game's Walking Dead No Man's Land. It's a great game, but they nailed monetization with both IAP and ads and social. It's a perfect example of what I was just talking about. A great game with a great, seriously great approach to building revenue. And Sarah will be up here shortly to talk a little bit about what they've done with their game. I'd now like to turn to the PC business. It's an area where you can freely experiment, and it's a little bit less competitive than the mobile game industry. One great example of success is Rust. They take the survival game to the next level, and they've got a unique art style that saves the investment in sort of photorealistic graphics. Again, another way to succeed with a beautiful game. Now, console is historically about AAA games sequeled, but there's lots of room for the indie to innovate. And in this case, one example I'd like to pull forward is Firewatch. It's a new kind of game with a tense, scary, and frankly, nerve-wracking gameplay mechanic that is fun, and it's a beautiful art style. And it's, again, generating great success for an indie developer on the console and PC. And then lastly, I'd like to turn to AR and VR. I think AR and VR is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for a developer to find total new blue ocean, to invent the future. Now, this once-in-a-lifetime, market opportunity is started with games. One great example is a game that I've played and love, Lucky's Tale. It sort of brings what you'd expect from Nintendo in a platformer to VR. It's a beautiful, beautiful product. But I don't think that the VR and AR market is going to be about games alone. It's ultimately, I believe, about extending the human experience. Imagine a world 10 years from now where 1 billion people are wearing the head-mounted display. They've got their gear on, and you blink and you're in the Taj Mahal. Blink again, and you're flying to New York, but instead of being inside of a metal tube, you're literally on the wings of the plane soaring above Earth. An incredible opportunity for new types of experiences. Now, there's more to this. You could be right in the middle with in a second's notice, a Caltech lecture, your favorite university with a Nobel laureate, or inside your favorite game like you've never been before. And one of the things that I'm quite sure of is you'll be talking to your best friend, and that friend will be 1,000 miles away, but they'll be right next to you with an incredible sense of personal sort of presence. You will feel like you're right next to them. You remember that old movie, Fantastic Voyage? This time, you'll be inside the person in your ship, down the bloodstream, into the heart, up to the brain, out the bowel, you'll do it all. Or you'll be walking alongside an astronaut on the surface of Mars, literally there. Except unlike that astronaut who might have to spend the rest of their life on the planet, you take off your HMD and you're home. And Unity is proud to provide all the tools you need for AR and VR. Now, I'm incredibly excited that we're all on this journey together, whether you're working on mobile games or PC, AR and VR. And I think it's really all about innovation. It's what I've been talking about this morning. It's either more social and multiplayer, it's business model innovation that will get you the revenue you need to acquire new users, or you're building something we've never dreamed about in AR and VR. And these focus areas is what we're doing to try to help you succeed. We're investing in your productivity, multi-platform so you can reach the platforms you want, high-end graphics, and ultimately your lifeblood, the revenue that you need to build your own business. So we're going to cover all of this today, but we're going to start with a deep dive into the technical end, what we're doing for you today. And I couldn't be more proud to introduce my friend, my partner, and our founder, Joachim Ante, who up onto the stage. Where are you, Joachim?
Thank you, John. Thank you. So earlier this year at GDC, we showed the first part of the Atom demo. And the Atom demo, it really reset expectations of what you can visually achieve with Unity. And since then, the team has been working on the second part of the demo. And so now I want to show you the full Atom demo running in real time.
Hey! Gone!
Yeah, I think that just looks so badass. It's amazing. So now I want to show you some of this actually running in the editor and just give you a little bit of a sneak peek of how that works. Can we switch to the editor? Yeah. All right. So in the editor, we have this scrubbing feature where we can basically scrub through the whole movie here like this. And the really amazing part is there's just so much happening on screen here. So if we play here a part of this in the editor, you can really see it runs at a solid 30 frames per second in the editor, and that's actually both with the scene view and the game view running at the same time. So it's just really, really, yeah, it just shows how fast it runs and how, yeah. So what's really cool in this demo, I think, is it's just the amount of stuff on screen. So one of the techniques that we use to render all these characters, for example, that you see here on screen, is the new instancing features in Unity. So with instancing, you can create some custom shaders, and basically a lot of the objects that are similar in nature to each other, you basically just make a shader that has an array of transform matrices or colors or whatever you want different between them. And then Unity automatically finds out you have an instance shader, and it will pack and batch all the renderers that are being rendered together dynamically when they are similar, when they have the same geometry and the same materials. And then it will render them really, really efficiently together. So you can get some huge performance boost by using that. And we use this in this demo to render the vegetation, the rocks, and also the characters really, really efficiently. So with that, you can do really, really big crowds and lots of instances of rocks and so on. Another thing in this demo is really just the incredible detail that really goes into all these models here. So you can see here, for example, these pipes and these things, they're really all separately modeled and just super high detailed. And also the texturing is just incredibly detailed. Even when you get to like 10 centimeter distance, it still looks really, really good. And one of the things that is really cool in this demo is they have made a lot of really cool textures for the texturing and surface shaders, specialized surface shaders for the ground. So you can see here we have some grass and some rocks and some pebble stones over here, and it blends really, really nicely. And to do this, basically, we're using a new feature in Unity 5.4, and that's texture arrays. With texture arrays, we basically can put a bunch of textures into one texture array, and then in the shader, we can pick between them dynamically. And what that allows us to do is we pack all these PBR textures that we have for the grass and the rocks and the puddles, and we put it into this one texture, and then we have a mask that defines where to actually render with that specific PBR material. And by doing that, you can then make really cool painting tools where you can just paint sort of these puddles here, for example. And we spent a lot of time on this shader, making it really look cool. So here, for example, you can see the water is kind of like only being placed exactly where the height of the rocks are, where the rocks are kind of like sticking out through the water. So it all looks really natural. So even when I just paint on this, whatever I do, it just seems to kind of look good because the base artwork and the base textures that we use are just really well set up. The other part that really, I mean, I just love these puddles. I mean, if you look at these, it just always looks so amazing. So what makes them look really so good is also the screen space reflections we're using. So that's a new image effect that we have in the cinematics image effect package. And when you look at that, it's just, yeah, it just looks really cool, the reflections and sort of like how the surfaces shine through in a really realistic way, and especially when the characters are moving, you can see it just updates and the shadows interact correctly with it, and they have really, based on the roughness of the surface, it really reflects the shadows correctly, and it just gives this really incredible quality to it. The team that built the Atom demo, it's going to give a technical hands-on session later on during the week on Thursday at 10 o'clock. And they will talk a little bit more about the techniques that they've used to make this demo look really, really great. And now, Lucas will give us a little bit more info about some of the tools that we've been building.
All right. Do you have a clicker?
Yes.
Thanks, Joe. Whenever we make a demo at Unity and we show it to him, he just says, like, can't you put in more of these puddles? Every time. So we do. So that looks really good. And one of the reasons that this demo and many other Unity 5 created pieces look so good is physically based shading. So before physically based shading, everyone was kind of just hacking it. Like, you make a shader and you just multiply by 1.5, or you divide by 1.5 until it kind of looks nice. And if it doesn't look nice yet, maybe you need to make your textures a little bit darker, or maybe a little bit brighter, or you bake some lighting into it. You basically just fake it until it kind of looks okay. And you could actually get very far with that. You could get very far with it. But what physically based shading brings us is because like Unity 5 provides that in form of the new standard shader. And it's a shader that instead of hacking it up, it actually follows the laws of physics, you know, like how light interacts with the surface. And it turns out if you use that, like, it brings two great things. One is that it looks a lot better. But maybe the more important thing is that if you prepare your models and textures for the standard shader, for PBR rendering, physically based rendering, it turns out that it actually looks good in many different lighting conditions. In a very bright outdoor scene or in a dark cave. It kind of makes your models portable, just like Unity. You make them once and they actually run in many places. So that's all great, but of course there's a catch. Like, there's always a catch, right? And the catch is that you still need to create your textures in a way that the standard shader expects them. And because at Unity we are on a mission to make sure that Unity becomes the tool that artists love to work with the most, I want to show you a sneak peek of a tool that we've been working on to help you check if your model and your textures are actually authored in a physically based rendering friendly way, so that you know that if your art looks good in that, it's going to look good in your game and in other people's games as well. So I have the model from the Atom demo here. Let me just drag that into this look dev tool. And I can use this to look around. I can pan and I can zoom. And because such a big part of physically based shading is this portability of your model, the ability to use it in different lighting conditions, we have these different environments here. And it makes it really easy to check what the lighting of your model looks like in these different kind of scenes. So this is actually where Star Wars was shot in San Francisco, Muir Woods, an outdoor scene, and a scene near our Paris office. So this is a quick way to sort of like see if if your model actually responds to light correctly in all these environments. I can turn on my shadows here. I can zoom in, and if I want to, like, if there's something where I want to, like, I'm not quite sure about that, you can actually go into split view mode. Oh, look at that. He's actually for later in the demo, but that's okay. He's a friendly little monster. So we can go here, and then we can say, well, on the right side, actually, I want to see my normal map. And then you can see like that. Actually, here you can see that we have a normal map, smoothness map, specular, and albedo. These are the 4 textures that you need to make if you want to create standard shader-ready assets. So maybe like this, it's still a bit hard to see what's going on, so you can also do like this diagonal split mode, where you can actually do it like this. And then we have shortcuts for changing the environment. So I can take a look at like what the lighting, for instance, does to this piece on the neck here. I can check if if that works good, and if I wonder what the normal map looks like there, you can easily do it like that. We also have a circular one, which our artists tell us is very nice, but I still haven't figured out exactly when you would use it. But that's okay. That's okay. They're the boss. They're the boss. And once you actually verify that you're happy with your model, you can actually use one of these models that you're already happy with as sort of like a benchmark for when you get new assets in your game. Right? When you make new models yourself, or maybe when you get models from the asset store, or maybe if you're a bigger production, you actually outsource a bunch of assets, you can use this tool to, in the split mode, let's see, let's get that friendly little monster that I found on the asset store yesterday again. There we go. And then put it on shader, and then you can sort of like see as you flip through these environments if the new model responds to the lighting as well as the old model does. All right. Let me go back to this. I actually like this environment. I actually kind of like the best. And it turns out like one of the features that like a programmer like me would never make, but apparently this auto rotate is the thing that our artists tell us that they really, really like. So we made it. So this is one of the steps we're taking to make sure, to try to make Unity the tool that artists love the most. We expect to ship it in Unity 5.5. So as soon as we ship the first Unity 5.5 beta, you can try it out. Did I leave my clicker somewhere? I always leave it somewhere. Here we go. So continuing on the topic of graphics, our next speaker is a very special guest. He's here from Japan, and it's special because his team has been working on using Unity's graphics capabilities not to make a game, but to make a movie. So I would like to invite to the stage Haruhiro Uchida.
Hi everyone, my name is Uchida from Marza Animation Planet. First of all, I'd like to express my gratitude for a chance like this to do a presentation to all of you. Marza is a CZ animation studio, part of a large media group called Sega, involved in games, amusement, and toys. And you can see our IPs, the Sonic. Up until now, we have created some feature films and various animation works. Today, I would like to tell you why we considered creating an animation using real-time rendering. Before I go to the topic, let's have a look to the actual outcome, our short film called Gift. Now, we don't have much time today. I'm just going to show you the trailer, but we have our technical section in this afternoon from 1:30, so please watch the trailer first.
Working!
I'm not asking you to come home early every day. I need to give this gift.
Thank you. As you know, computer graphics and games have a lot in common, but also are very different in many ways. This slide shows some of the main differences between the two. After doing some tests with a few of real-time engines, we discovered Unity. We asked ourselves, how can we create a video production more effectively? How can we increase the productivity? When looking at these problems, real-time came to our mind. Maybe it's also because of our background of being a member of a game company. As a result, we decided to launch this short story project, The Gift. So we took one step closer to true visual expression through our method, something which was very difficult through other game engines up until then. We believe we were able to achieve at least TV animation quality. The Gift uses the real-time engine, but not in the usual way. Yet we could dramatically compress the rendering time and raise production efficiency compared to the usual visual production process. Our goal is to make multi-platform development easier, including sharing all the assets over multiple games such as mobile, VR, arcade games in a more efficient way. And this is a big advantage for our many clients in film and game companies. So, what is our next step? Our next challenge is how far we can ensure the GIFs level expressions using a real-time engine and move it in real time. Marza is looking forward to teaming up with Unity to solve these all challenges. Also, we are interested in grappling the challenge of VR cinematics, the hottest topics in the industry this year. So please look out for Marza in your future. Thank you. This is all.
Thanks, Haru. That looks so nice. Our next speaker has worked at Unity for many years, and it's his job to make sure that the software that we ship actually works. Please welcome Thomas Peterson.
Thank you, Lucas. So, you've seen all of this. You've seen the Atom demos. You've seen Marsa. It's all built on top of the innovation that we've put into 5.0. So we've been driving a lot of features. We've been driving a lot of innovation into the 5 series, and it has emerged into what we've seen we can build in a demo like Atom. So it's an amazing feat. But we're also committed to deliver quality. In terms of raw investment that we're doing in both terms of jobs and pure hardware and money, QA is on the top of the list. We are putting in a lot of resources in it. And I want to highlight two things that we're putting resources into. So the sustained engineering team is a team that creates all the patches for you. Every week that we ship a patch of one of the versions. They also fix a lot of the bugs that you find and send to us. And we are going to increase that team so we can do even more. We're going to put more QA into that team. And one of the things that we want to ensure with that team is that we don't regress on the performance, especially on the versions that we have released. Performance regressions on a game that you already have shipped is one of the worst things that we can do, and we want to make sure that doesn't happen. Another thing that we're putting a lot of resources into is our test center. So we're going to build a new one. We already run 1.2 million tests every single day across our devices. And yet we want to do more because we have all of these devices, all these platforms that we support. And we want to build a new device farm, a larger test center for that, so we can increase our test service. And most notably, we want to ensure that we don't have regressions coming out of that. So it's a huge investment that we're doing in that, all in order to make sure that we deliver the quality that you need and deserve. So another thing we're doing is that we're changing the approach on how we're releasing Unity. You saw that at GDC we did not ship 5.4. What we saw last year on the release train with the quarterly releases was that we did get a lot of features out, but we don't think that we did well enough on the quality of those. So we stopped that. We took another 5.3, fixed even more bugs in that one, and it is a very stable release now. We see more than 500 million installs on games on 5.3. It's completely production ready, and we are committed to supporting that for at least 12 more months. No matter whether we ship 5.4, 5.5, 5.6 or whatever, we will keep on supporting 5.3 for you. So that leads me to the beta. We changed how we make the beta. We have a public beta now. It contains all the features that you've seen from the Atom demo. A lot of VR, performance improvements. And we want to keep that in beta until we are confident that we can release it. So if we take a look at what the status is on the beta right now, we've had 850,000 starts on the editor on 5.4. 88,000 projects have been tested with 5.4, and that's all of you doing that. And we've actually had games released, and they're now being installed 1.2 million times on devices out there. Now, as Joe aptly demonstrated, there are still some bugs that we're ironing out, but we think that we're ready to release this by the end of June. And that leads me to thanking you for participating in the beta. We will be sending out an email to everyone who has submitted a bug, so you can reclaim a token of appreciation for your help. And we also have a giveaway of 100 vouchers for $100 on the asset store. We will be drawing those at the release time as well. It's a small token of appreciation for what you're doing, helping us make sure that we have a quality release on 5.4. So thank you. Thank you for participating. Thank you.
Thanks, Thomas. Thanks, Thomas. So as John mentioned in his intro, at Unity we're in the business of helping developers, helping you make the games, helping you run the games, helping you figure out how to make money from games. And for the next segment, I want to take a look at how we're trying to help with helping you figure out what is happening in the game, helping you run the game, help figure out like the part that comes after shipping. And for that, let's hear it for John Chang.
Here we go. All right. It is great to be back here in Amsterdam this year. Really excited to be talking about analytics. But thought we'd start with a very simple first question. How many of you are using analytics in your projects today? Quick show of hands. All right, so definitely more than last year. I think that's reflected in our data. However, for those of you who aren't using analytics yet, I thought we could start with the why. Why you should be using analytics. And obviously, analytics starts with data. And we as a company and as a team, we love data. However, not probably for the reasons that you think of. Data can obviously be very, very compelling, though it leads to a lot of complications as well. You can see words up there when people think of data, such as Hadoop, k-means algorithms. But that's really not what excites us about data and analytics. What's important about analytics is really the insights that are possible. So in this case, we can look at analytics to get insights into player behavior. Without any data at all, you wouldn't even know how many players you have in your game and understand what they're doing. In this case, with data, we know that there are 5, so we're just getting started. However, with the addition of some insights from analytics, you can really start to paint in the tapestry of your players. Start to see who they are, what their personalities are, what they're motivated by. But ultimately, what's most important here is how they respond to your game. Measuring and understanding if all that time you spent late at night building a new shader or the weekends you spent building a new level, not only how they responded to it, but ultimately how you can do it better. And so Unity Analytics takes this one step further. And we've built an analytics package specifically for games. And what that means is the insights that you get from our analytics package is specifically built so that you can build even better games. And we're really excited to be with you on that journey, providing you not just data, but the actual insights so that you can be more successful. And ultimately, that is our only goal, is to help you be more successful. We've started to see it with studios around the world. Halfbrick, Mindstorm, Concrete Software. Not only are they finding it incredibly easy to integrate, but it works across all the different platforms that they care about. And ultimately, understanding not just how to better retain and engage, but even be more successful in their games. So, since we made our big announcement about analytics last year, thought it'd be apropos to share at least one statistic about the service. And that is that since last year, we've had over 100,000 games integrate on analytics, making it not only the fastest growing analytics package for Unity ever, but by far the most adopted analytics package in the Unity ecosystem. It's a testament to the value that having insights can bring to you, and we're really excited to be with you on this journey and building the best games out there. So, in parallel to the existing analytics package, Unity's been making a huge investment in terms of the platform, the features, in its ability to actually solve real-world problems. And so these problems can often be killers. So we've taken our feature walkthrough and set it to an actual data mystery. So we'll be walking through the features in terms of solving the case of the missing revenue. I'll be starring as Sherlock Chang. My good friend, Dr. Watson, Lucas Watson. All right. So the backstory is our game is Blackthorn. It was launched a couple months ago, but we just dropped a new release. And for some reason, revenue has dropped. And so, dun dun dun, what has killed our revenue? Dr. Watson, is there a fast and efficient analytics system we can turn to see what the problem is?
I believe you spent the last 3 minutes talking about that. My dear sir. Let's take a look at that. I guess it would have been convenient if I would have turned this on before we ran into this problem, right?
It would have been good for your job security.
Yeah. OK, well, I mean, fortunately I did. But it looks like this. You turn it on and you go to the dashboard. Let's take a look.
It's so easy, it makes me wonder what you've been doing with all your time.
Makes me wonder where the Wi-Fi is. Here we go. So let's take a look at our Data Explorer. So I have a graph here that shows our daily active users and our total revenue. And oh, look at that, John. It's like, I've been told recently that you call this in analytics, you call this an inkling.
Yes, it is an inkling that revenue has dropped.
It's not good. So both our users and our revenue has dropped a lot.
It would be great if we had a feature that actually allowed us to look at revenue, both in IP and ads, without a bunch of multiple SDKs.
Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Oops. So I clicked the wrong thing.
So
it's this one, right? Mark? There we go. This always happens. Don't you have like a good Sherlock Holmes joke for this part?
Yes.
Yeah?
What stole our dashboard as well.
OK.
All right. So the Data Explorer, we're back again.
OK. So we're going to skip the Data Explorer, and we're going to look at this funnel analyzer. Because the Data Explorer was kind of boring anyway. What it would have showed us, I mean, don't give me a break. What it would have shown us
I believe revenue has dropped, and what we're looking for is what scene exactly did it drop in? It looks like overall our funnel Looks pretty steady. It looks like how it's always looked before, but potentially, can we dig down by a certain geography? Let's try China as an example.
Let's take a look at China here. So in China, it turns out that instead of 52%, it's only 10%.
Interesting.
So no one in China is actually getting through to level 4.
I think what this calls for is an actual surveillance camera on level 3.
Let's take a look.
If we actually had that, we could see how players were engaging on that level specifically.
OK, so it was level 3, right?
Level 3 it is.
OK, so I open up level 3 here. And let's take a look what I can do. Let me hit process. So what you're looking at here is the activity of players in the scene. So red means that there's a lot of people there, a lot of gameplay sessions. And lighter colors is where it's not.
Interesting. Can you zoom in on the little gate right there?
Yeah, what's going on there?
Isn't that where we added all the cinematic effects last week?
In that update we did?
Yes, exactly.
Yes, that's right. We added a whole bunch of image effects here.
Understood. You know, I think in the new feature, we can actually look at the FPS for each of the movements of the characters.
OK, yeah, we can do that. Let me open this up, and let's say that we want to graph out the FPS of all these gameplay sessions. Oh, look at that.
Flip that gradient.
So it looks like everyone's FPS is pretty much fine, except for around this gate here.
Our hypothesis is true. Do you think it's true for every person on this level, or can we actually look at individual players now?
Let's take a look at a bunch of individual players to see what's going on. So this player here apparently was here and had bad FPS and didn't go through the gate. Yeah, this player here too. It's all the same. It's all the same problem here. Did anyone make it? Did anyone make it through the gate? Yeah, look at that. So this one got through the gate, but this person also didn't have the FPS problem. So it's definitely something about those image effects that we added in the last update.
I think what we need to do is drill down into these characters. Let's take our magnifying glass and look at raw data for the first time ever available in real time.
So what I have here...
Is that Excel, my dear Watson?
The first person ever who forces me to do a Unite Keynote demo in Excel.
All right.
Well done. Well done.
Analytics is good for all things. So what we have here looks like FPS.
Yeah, so this is actually the raw data that, so all the data that Unity Analytics has on the game, people can just get that out, like in the raw format?
Exactly. Through an API access, you can programmatically access your real data in real time whenever you need it.
Right, so it's not like our data, like it's
your game's
your data, you can get at all of the data.
That's right, sir.
Okay, so these are like all these custom player position events for our game. And let's see what happens when we sort this by FPS. Wow, that's not a lot of FPS. That's 0, 1. Oh, look at that. This matches our findings. It's all from China, and it's all this Moriarty device. Android Moriarty.
Interesting. The Moriarty device, China, low FPS. I believe we have found the guilty party.
These people are all going to leave like really bad reviews for our game, right?
Yes, so I believe we have the guilty party identified. And we will smack them with our magnifying glass. But that's not the actual end of the story, right? So the end of the case. With analytics, with actual insight, you can actually act upon that with that raw data, right? So, my good friend Dr. Watson, first we'll blacklist the device so we stem the bleeding so that we no longer get those 1-star reviews. Then we'll work on a fix, or Watson, I'm sure you're working on that already, with that specific device, so that when we release it, we'll know that patch actually solves our problem. And with that, our case is actually closed.
So is the only thing you need to do to get all that to just turn it on?
Yes. One flick of a switch and everything that we've shown you. A little maneuvering on the heat maps, but ultimately, that's the entire case.
Wow.
All right. So we want to thank Blackthorn Media for once again sharing their assets with us. Their game, Abbott's Book, out already in VR, a VR thriller. Really encourage everyone to check it out. And as we've shown you, everything that's available, please go check it out. Analytics can be powerful not just for providing insights, but the actions to really improve your game development. And so one of the features that we showed you was around data, ads, analytics, all in one place. To show you more, we'd love to invite Julie up on stage, who will talk to you more about our ads packages. Dr. Watson, shall we?
Wow. Thank you, John, or shall I say Sherlock. I'm not taking you on a mystery journey. I'm going to take you on a monetization journey today. I am Julie Shoemaker, Head of Business Development for Unity Ads, and we couldn't be more thrilled to be here to talk about the great work we're doing on the platform and some key clients who are highlighting Unity Ads. Unity Ads has a singular purpose, and that is to enable developer success. We're the only ad network built directly into the Unity engine. And just like Unity Analytics, we're offering your development team the tools to light up ad revenues with the flip of a switch. We have a global footprint of ad experts, many of them here today, to help you succeed both here in EMEA and abroad. And finally, we are Unity, which means that we put developers and players first, making us the singular most player-centric ad network in mobile games. This player-centric approach is the primary driver to our ad implementation strategy. When we think about the player journey and partnering with the development organization of what is the core loop, what you find is opportunities to delight players through choice of reward video ads. The results of this are true win-wins. You have players that stay more engaged and developers that make more revenue. Let's dive a little deeper. In 2015, Unity conducted research with over 2,000 developers and players. And what we found was definitively players are open to video ads in exchange for in-game rewards. The deep engagement is actually driving higher queues in the core loop of your game. One developer that we partnered with had originally also done reward video ads, but they had buried it at the bottom of their storefront. And what they found is only 10% of the players were actually opting in. When we worked to light up the ads at various points in the game mechanic, what we found is we moved that to 35% of all players opting in and growing their revenues 3x. And this is not an isolated case. Future Play, the makers of the breakaway hit Farm Away, worked with Unity to go from game concept through ad integration in the Unity game engine and launch within 4 months. And what they saw was because they had thought about ads from day one as a true component of player choice and optionality throughout the game loop, is that they were driving 15-cent ARPDAU in the US. What we love about Future Play's approach is that they're really thinking about this not just from revenues, but from an LTV perspective. So going back to the research that revealed that players are absolutely open to watching ads in exchange for in-game rewards, that same research study, we also found that developers who implement reward video ads, 62% of them either have no loss in retention, and actually most of them experience gained retention. Only 9% see decrease in retention, and we know with the effective use of gating and Unity Analytics, the right ad at the right time to the right person, we can even get that number lower. Another example of thinking about ads as in an LTV perspective is GameHive. When they launched, they went with interstitial-only ads. And what they found is that it was actually hurting their LTV. So when we partnered with them to integrate reward video ads as well, we Also, we saw no loss in retention. And we actually had the boards lighting up with players wanting more ads. I know it's not believable, but it happened. So what does this all mean? First of all, Unity is the only game engine that pays you. Last year, Unity paid out more to developers leveraging advertising than the entire Unity ecosystem paid us. And since the last Unite Europe, we have helped EMEA developers grow their revenues 41% year on year. So to take it full circle, Unity Analytics, IAP, and ads, the cycle of retain, engage, and monetize. It's a cycle we're excited about getting started with you. And next up, I'd like to introduce Sarah Bergstrom from Next Games, a publisher that is leveraging Unity ads. Thank you.
Next Games is a mobile game developer based in Helsinki, Finland, the best place to make games on earth, if you ask me. We started in 2013. We were only 4 people, and since then, we've published 2 games and grown into a 70-people-strong company. Our strategy stands on 2 strong feet. We make our own games, as well as work with third parties on movie and TV show IP. Compass Point West is our debut game. It's a card battler based on a really fun Wild West theme, where the player fights off evil Mr. Driller, who's trying to take over the Wild West and the prairie with his oil drilling facilities. The Walking Dead No Man's Land, which is based on AMC's record-breaking TV show, one of the most popular TV shows on Earth, is our second game. With this game, the players are fighting off the walkers while trying to stay alive just to survive, just like in the TV show. In here, combining the familiar themes from the TV show with a really fresh turn-based combat gameplay mechanic, we were able to make an immediate fan hit. On its launch week, the game rose up to #1 position across 12 markets, and since then it's been downloaded over 12 million times. Next Games is also funded by the best in technology and entertainment. AMC, who's known, of course, from The Walking Dead, they're making TV shows like The Breaking Bad as well. In addition to AMC, Lionsgate, who's known from the movie series Hunger Games, is also an investor. For us, mobile really is a place where quality entertainment and commercial success can coexist. And our team is united in this conviction in making games in a way that, we don't have to make these sacrifices. So with the same approach, we moved forward with the ads implementation in Compass Point West. And we really are dedicated in making the optimal player experience, and we firmly believe that if ads are not integrated in a seamless way, this will drive away players, affecting retention or bottom line at the end of the day. So what we did with our ads implementation is we treat it as a feature, just like any other gameplay feature that we put into the game. So the whole team was working on this feature for the duration of a whole release cycle, instead of just adding a watch ads button on the screen somewhere. We're not forcing ads on anyone. Our ads are opt-in, and we have over 75% of our player base actually opting into watching ads. As a result, we're also driving up our revenue by 6 cents per player on average. So this has clearly worked really well for us. Now let's take a look at one of my favorite characters in the game, the 49er, who's a really fun and quirky guy. And let's see what his special skills are. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Sarah. All right, for the next demo, we're going to take a look at some of the things we're trying to do to help the actual production process. And for that, let's welcome to the stage Arisa Scott.
Hi, I'm Arisa. I'm a product manager for Unity's developer services team. My job is to make your lives easier and to solve the kinds of problems you'd rather not deal with. I've talked to a lot of different teams, and one problem I've heard of from a lot of them is that you'll have half of your team using source control and the other half of your team using Dropbox, Google Drive, or USB sticks. And when these worlds are supposed to come together, they don't. It's a mess to manage and a pain to untangle. So we've created Collaborate. It's simple and easy to use. It's in the Unity editor. And best of all, it just works. Let me show you. Hey, Lucas.
Hey, what's up, Arisa?
I hear you really like giving demos.
I do.
So much. So we have Burly Minute C here, thanks to Brain and Brain, David and Brooke, for letting us use their game. We've Collaborate already turned on. Like the other Unity services, you just flip it on with the switch, and you publish your project up here, and you're able to invite people through this little people icon, invite a teammate. Got a tester back in Seattle, Holly, who I think is watching. She's super awesome. So I invited her. Next time she opens up the Unity editor, she'll be able to download this project right away and start working on it. It's just that easy. So I've got Lucas here, and we're going to start working together. We've got this scene, a bunch of assets in it.
OK, so we're going to make this game together?
Yeah.
Let's do that. So I'm going to take this boat, and I don't like where it is, so I'm going to move it around. And it looks a little bit like a lonely boat, don't you think?
It's a pretty lonely boat.
It's a little bit of a lonely boat. So let me make a few more.
So I'm going to publish my change in this scene. I just moved the sun. Oops, moved the sun. And we're both in the same scene file, making changes to it.
OK, so I'm going to save my scene as well. And I'm going to get it turned blue for just a second, which means that I have changes that I haven't published yet to the collab server. But because Arisa was first, mine actually now turns orange because there's changes on the server that I should get. So how does that work? Because we're changing stuff in the same scene. If I click update now, are we going to get a merge conflict?
Nope.
Maybe we should try it
as
first.
long as we don't change the exact same object, like if I tried to move the boat and you tried to move the boat, then yeah, the boat can only be in one place.
OK, so it's kind of like it's kind of like source control, but then it understands your Unity scenes.
So we're using a pre-existing feature called Smart Merge, which anyone can use right now. But normally you have to use a command line and remember to use it every single time. Whereas with Collaborate, it just works. It works for scenes and prefabs. So as long as you're making different changes to the same scene or the same prefab, then it will merge together cleanly.
All right. So something tells me this is not the end of the demo yet.
Not at all. I mean, we've got a really cool game here, but we want to be able to share our game, and that can often be a pain to create a build. So this one right here is the Cloud Build button that Collaborate is integrated with Cloud Build, which launched the Cloud Build website. Normally, to set up Cloud Build, you have to enter in your source control and do a couple steps. But with Collaborate, Unity already knows where your source control is, because we have it. And so Collaborate and Cloud Build can just work together. So all you need to do is be like, what platform do I want to make a thing for? And you can make as many different build instances as you want to, and multiple versions.
All right, so we make an OS X build?
Yeah. And we can have auto build turned on, which means every time I make a change or Lucas makes a change, there will be another build that is immediately kicked off. Save and starting build, and now the build is running.
OK, and so that's all the setup you have to do. You just turn on Collaborate, and then if you want to make a build in the cloud on any platform, you just turn it on.
Yep.
OK, so what happens if I want to share that build with my mom?
Yeah, so I've got a different version.
My mom is here. She's somewhere in the back.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So I've got all my builds here on a different version of Burly Minute C, and I click Share. And that generates a share link. So if you wanted to log in, then you'd be able to get that link, or you could just email it to your mom or send her a text message. OK, so if I were to make an Android build on Cloud Build, and you get that link and you email it to someone, they can just hit the link and then play the game on their phone. Yep. I mean, assuming they've got developer mode enabled, which I'm sure your mom does. Well, I'll check. One other cool thing about this that I forgot to mention is you can also revoke your link, which means that if, say, you've got an old version of your build and you don't want testers downloading it, you can pull that back. Or if, say, you're doing a live demo and you've got a working version of someone's game and you don't want to give it away for free to a bunch of people, then you can do that.
OK, cool. Cool. Do we have anything else to show?
Yeah, got one more thing. So we've got our game out there in the world. People are going to run into some issues. So here we've got another thing called performance reporting, which I'm going to switch over into. And we can see all of our exceptions being captured in real time.
So that's like a third thing, right? So there's collaborate, which is one thing, and cloud build, and then this is performance reporting.
Yep.
And that gives my errors?
That gives you your errors. And
you mean your errors, because my...
Yes, my errors, all of my errors will be found before, whenever a user runs into it when they're playing the game, it'll be reported live in real time. And it's nice because, like all of our services, from the editor, you can just like flip this switch, it'll turn on, and performance reporting will just work. So I've got this, and I've got the count here, when it was last seen. And I can click into one of these, and I can go to a loaded version because the internet's not super great. And I've got my message and a stack trace.
Oh, with line numbers?
Mm-hmm. Line number right here. So we know where our null exception might be, and we can start digging into it right away.
OK, so what about like if I use this to find a problem in my game, and then I fix it, and I send out an update, can I see if it worked?
Yeah, I mean, you can get the affected version. If you update that, then you'll be able to see over time, are my number of errors going down or not? You can also see what devices were affected. So if you have like a problem Android build or something like that, you can tell right away where problems are happening in real time.
OK, and are all these things already public and available?
Yep, most of them.
Because they sound kind of expensive.
Do they sound expensive? So Cloud Build is available to everyone right now. You can just turn it on that easily. Performance reporting is part of your Pro subscription. So if you're in Pro, then you will get it for free. And with Collaborate, we're in a closed beta right now. And I actually have a little slide. Yeah, so everyone here can go and sign up and use this promo code we have right here. And we'll get you to the beta as soon as we can.
Super cool. Thanks a lot, Arissa.
Thank you.
There we go. Thanks, Lucas and Arissa. So next up, we're going to talk about all of the new products coming from Unity, the pricing, the models, the program. And to do that, I'd like to introduce our Chief Marketing Officer, Clive Downey. He'll take you through everything, how you can get to it, what you'll do with it, and how we're pricing it. Clive, it's all yours.
Thank you. Thanks, John. Hey, everyone. It's that riveting moment in the keynote when you have to sit through 10 slides on product and pricing. But it's going to be worth it, I promise. Now, I'm going to announce today some new products and pricing at the very heart of what Unity does. We're talking about the engine product. And we're talking about 3 products. You're used to having 2. We're talking about 3. And these products are going to be launching through June. And we want them to start replacing the existing perpetual products and the existing subscription products. These are the new products. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about, actually, after all that, isn't that new, and it isn't actually changing that much. And that's Unity Personal. And Unity Personal stays as it is. It stays as a free, fully featured product that's democratization of development at its best. And this product is massively full-featured. For those of you who use it, you know well and truly what this product can do. 2D, 3D, scripting, optimization, full suite of integrated services, including the ad service that Julian and team talked about earlier, so you can make revenue quickly. So Unity Personal, free, fully featured, not changing. We are committed to that as democratizing of development at its best. Now, let's talk about the new Unity Pro. Big breath. Now this product, the first big news on the new Unity Pro is it's all platforms included. That's right. So, well, that's a relief. You like that? So let's just break that down. What does that mean? iOS and Android add-ons are going away, integrated into the new Unity Pro. We just wanted to make it simpler. When we had like 5 or 10 platforms around 6 or 7 years ago, it kind of made sense to start breaking things up. But now we're at 25 plus. You know, we just wanted to make it more simple and more accessible. You should be able to go after the biggest groups of customers and consumers playing games when you want to do it, when you choose to do it. So that's what it's all about. It's about getting simple and it's about accessible. Now, all platforms included in the new Unity Pro, the pricing of this product is going to be $125 a month. That's $125 a month for a product that includes all of the platforms that now you have to pay separately for. Now, we think this actually represents some really good value. If you just think about kind of generally the two constituent parts of our Unity ecosystem, we've got developers who are in the audience today who are already multi-platform developers. Multi-platform developers, you guys have paid for the perpetual license up front. You guys are paying for the updates in around an every 2.5-year cycle. And that total cost that you're paying for now, that's wiped away. Because at $125 a month, the new Unity Pro represents really strong value for you. The second group of customers that we have and developers that we have are people who are single platform developers, people who haven't yet jumped to multi-platform development. And in this instance, this product actually represents a little bit more. It represents, if you aggregate it out over a 2-year period, about $1 per day more in terms of what you're paying. But what you're getting for is, like I said, the choice to get to new platforms when you want to do it. You're getting new features, which I'm going to talk about later. Some of them you've seen today. And both groups of developers, multi-platform and single platform, are getting the opportunity to benefit from what we've been doing for the last 14 months, which is delivering just huge amounts of new technology on a regular basis. So you can have the greatest technology at your fingertips and disposal when you want to start your new product. That's not going to stop. Stability is going to continue to increase. And whether it's the likes of IL2 CPP, whether it's the likes of Cinematic Image Effects Suite, whether it's the likes of PBR, whether it's the likes of our new VR and AR platform integrations that are allowing Unity developers to really be in the pioneering spirit in that new ecosystem. These kind of technological achievements are going to continue to be at your fingertips with this new Pro subscription product. Now, lastly though, if you're not quite ready to move over to the new promised land of subscription, we have another kind of consumption model for you. And we call that the pay-to-own option. We know there are some members of our development community who are going on the peace of mind of keeping their version of Unity after their subscription period. And so we have that opportunity for you as well. And that will be launching when we launch these products in June. What that essentially allows you to do is to consume it based on a subscription model for a set number of years, and then at the end of it, keep your version of Unity so you've got the peace of mind. So that's the new Unity Pro. All platforms, $125 a month, really powerful product. The third product that we're launching today, though, is a brand new tier. And it's a brand new tier that we call Unity Plus. Now, within the 1.5 million active developers that we have on a monthly basis using Unity, we know that there are people who are learning development, who are using our free product and using the features in that fully featured engine. We know that there are pro developers who are making a career out of game development, but we also know there's a large segment of customers globally who have learned the art and the craft of making games, and they want to take that first step to taking their idea to a commercial market, to be successful and start making revenue. And we know that the personal product doesn't quite provide the level of power that you need, but the Pro product is a bit of a step too far. So we've invented Plus, and we've come up with a new set of Plus-only features to allow that new first-time commercial developer to get a range of features to optimize your first-time game on the market, to allow you to get to critical and commercial success as quickly as possible. And it includes, for $35 a month, these specific kinds of features, which I'm going to break out in a moment. Plus-style analytics, plus-style multiplayer, plus-style performance reporting around a fully featured engine. And I'm going to break these out in a minute. So the first breakout feature that I want to talk about that are integrated into these new products is platform benefits. Now, the platform is what this new subscription product's built on. And with these new products, you get easier to manage dev and org profiles, and reliable authentication, and a better user experience. You get role-based permissions in real time and real-time service upgrades. You can choose who uses your products through these role-based permissions through a real-time dashboard. You get multiple billing options with localized payment providers and usage-based billing based on your services. And you get improved security with two-factor authentication. So those are the platform benefits that stretch across Personal, Plus, and Pro as part of the back end of these new products. Now, some of the new features which are going in these new products when they launch are as follows. The first one is Asset Store Project Packs. Now, Asset Store Project Packs are designed for this particular use case. You might wake up in the morning and you might think, you know what, I've got a great new idea for a racing game. I just have to get that racing game prototyped, and I have to think about how I can take it into production. And what these Asset Store Project Packs allow you to do as someone who has a new idea is take the best Asset Store assets for that particular theme, for that particular genre, and they're premium assets, and they're already bundled up in a pack which is theme-specific, so you can download it and start accelerating against your new game idea as quickly as possible into production and into prototyping. Now, we'll be launching 2 new Asset Store Project Packs every 2 months to build a library of them over different genres. So there'll be a library that will start to be collectible over into the future. And Plus customers get 1 of those free a quarter, and Pro customers get 2 of them free a quarter. So that's the first new feature, Asset Store Project Packs. The second one is certification courseware. So many of you will have heard about the Unity certification program. It's designed to provide a credential that validates foundational skills for making a game with Unity. Some of you may have even taken that in this room today. And the courseware that sits alongside that directly maps to preparation for that certification exam. And if you're a Plus customer, you're going to get 1 month access to the courseware. And if you're a Pro user, you're going to get 3 months free access to that courseware. So you can really start to hone your skills before you take that cert product. Analytics. Now, as John mentioned, analytics is continuing to innovate. And with analytics, what you get is a range of analysis points dependent on the tier you're in. And those analysis points are the actual things you can measure on a daily basis in your product. 500 for Personal, 1,000 things you can measure for Plus, and 2,000 for Pro. In addition, as John mentioned today and he demoed, Plus customers get the access to real-time data, so you can understand what's happening when you make a change and instantly optimize around that. Pro customers also get that. As well, Pro customers get what John showed in his demo, which is the raw data, which allows you to write manual queries into those logs to understand with greater insight how your customers are performing in your game. Performance reporting. Arissa just mentioned it. Performance reporting was our most widely used beta service. It was really, really well loved by the development community. We've now integrated it into the product. And it's that service that captures your apps and projects, errors, and reports them right into that service dashboard that you saw. It's now integrated in Plus. It's now integrated into the new Pro. Multiplayer. Now, since launching in March, we've hosted 2 million game sessions across 500,000 players with our new multiplayer service. And with these new Unity products, you get everything that you need to start a multiplayer product. There's just not enough multiplayer products in the world bringing people together. So this allows you to get to multiplayer fast with high-level and low-level access to the multiplayer APIs. Plus, you get access to our network infrastructure. So you can host players and start creating multiplayer games instantly, and you see the different concurrent player volumes that you can get with the different tiers. Now, last but not least, Cloud Build. For those of you who haven't used our Unity Cloud Build service, which has been a separate service, it's now integrated into the new Personal, the new Plus, and the new Pro products. We're almost at the 1 million build milestone for Cloud Build. It's been a really successful service for us, so thank you for using it. It's been great to save your time. Now, what it's allowed us to do is make some big changes. We've upgraded the cooldown system with a queuing system. which lets us create more builds for everyone. And if you've got a Plus or a Pro subscription, you'll get a priority queuing mechanism, so you never have to wait for builds again. Additionally, Pro gets the ability to use concurrent builds in that queuing system. You can make more than one build at once. And then the big news is the repo limit. Previously, you were limited to 5 gig, and you had to pay if you wanted to have additional space because your project was larger. But today, those limits are gone. There's no max repo limit in Unity Cloud going forward with these products. That's a really big win. So really, there's nothing to stop everyone just using it and just going crazy with building projects. Enjoy. OK. Now, I've talked a lot about what those products are and how they might apply to new customers. Very quickly, I want to cover kind of our transition plans. We have all of you in this room, I would hope, are existing customers of ours, and thank you for that. We have customized transition offers for you all based on these new products. So you can experience these new products for a period of time to see how they work for you, to see the power of them. And it doesn't matter whether you're on perpetual right now, whether you're on subscription right now, whether you're on Unity 3 or 4, which 15% of you are. 15% of you are still on 3 and 4, that's fine. Whether you're on Unity 5, we have customized transition offers for you all, so you can move across to these new products. We'll be starting to write to you in June, and from June until the end of the year, you will receive a customized offer based on your particular usage plan right now and how we think it's best for you to merge across. So here's the summary. 3 products that we really believe fit the life cycle of every single developer globally based on where you are and what you need. Unity Personal is free. It's fully featured. It's royalty-free. There is no investment required other than your time in Unity Personal. It remains the foundation of democratizing of development. Plus, that's $35 with an annual commitment. You can dip into that product on a monthly basis if you like and take the value from that product, try it out. It's a $49 a month commitment if it's month to month. And then there's Pro, $125 for all platforms, as Plus has in it, and all of the features that I talked to you about today. We have FAQs, we have blogs, we have forum posts. Everything is on unity3d.com for you to go there today and answer, no doubt, the questions that you have on these new products and pricing. That's it on products and pricing. I assured you it would be quick. Thank you. I'm still here, but I've moved. So now you think I'm someone different. Hi. So with those products, we know we're providing accessibility, we know we're simplifying, and we really do know that they're valued based on where we are today. But we also know that there are other things that we have to continually try and solve on your behalf, hard problems that you have. And one of the things that we've been aware of is when you make games, no doubt you always get to that moment in game making, whether you are a single game maker, whether you're a small team, whether you're a large team, where you think, wouldn't it be great if I just had another person to help on this thing? Wouldn't it be great if I just had a great artist? Because I'm not actually that good at being an artist. Wouldn't it be great if I just had another great back-end engineer? Because I'm not too good on the back end. It's that wouldn't it be great moment. And unfortunately, it's really hard to find right people to augment into your project at the right time based on the rules that you want. You might only want people for a month or 2 months. And that's why we've created this new product. And it's called Unity Connect. Now, we're really excited to announce this. What it is it's really simple. It's a website that will connect the world's Unity talent. It's you and the other 1.495 million active of you a month, with the projects, teams, and individuals that need help with their projects. And it works in 2 very simple ways based on where you sit in that world, whether you want to help or whether you need someone who can help. The first use case is you want to help, and you're actually after some work. You need to create a profile, you can search for and connect to projects that other people have uploaded that might interest you. Then you get hired, and then you get paid for your work. It's that simple. The second, from the other side of things, is for teams or individuals who want to connect to talent. And what you have to do is, again, very simple. You create and post a project and the details of a project. You set the time of the contract. You set the specifics on the kind of people that you want into your project. You chat in real time with potential candidates within the website, and then you hire the best candidate based on their profile. Really simple concept that is unlocking the value of the entire global Unity developer ecosystem, and we're really excited to get it out there and get your feedback. It's been in alpha for a while, and we've been collecting a small groups of people's feedback. We'll be opening to beta to pre-registered users in July. So if you haven't pre-registered yet, take a picture of this URL. Thank you, you are. I'll get out of the way. Go to this link and register, and then you can start to unlock and give us feedback on the value of this really powerful tool. All go to the Asset Store team here today, and they'll put you on the list. So that's Unity Connect. Really excited to launch that, and I know you'll have fun with it, linking with people around the world who can make your projects better. Now, lastly, I just wanted to give you another update very quickly on our affiliate store program, our Asset Store affiliates program. This is a website that we launched at GDC in March, and it works in a number of ways. We'd like you to sign up and be an affiliate. If you sign up and be an affiliate, you will receive a share of all sales to customers that you send to the Asset Store within a 24-hour period. It works like any standard affiliate store program. And if you're a publisher, you can benefit from the broader reach and discovery of your assets, because affiliates will be distributing those assets and talking about them. And lastly, if you're a developer wanting to know about the best assets, you can benefit from affiliates giving exposure to the assets used to make great things. So that's our affiliate store program. It's now in alpha. Again, the beta starts in early July. If you haven't registered yet to be an affiliate, to actually send out to the world and broadcast to the world the value of the asset store and the assets being used on it, please go to this URL and sign up for it and give us some feedback and get involved. OK. I think it's about time we looked at a game after all of that PowerPoint, right? That's worth a clap, by the way. We can look at a game, right? So we always love to show great things made with Unity. This is no exception. This is a delightful product that takes you back to your childhood and kind of brings to life for you again the joy and the discovery and the adventure of being a kid. It's been created by a massively talented two-person team. They're called Foam Sword. The game is Knights and Bikes. And here to talk about it is one of that two-person team. Welcome him to the stage. It's Moo. It's all you, baby. It's all you, baby.
Thank you so much for the kind words, Clive. Hi, I'm Moo Yu, and I'm the programming half of Foam Sword. So Foam Sword is a tiny, independent game studio based out of London, which is basically myself and Rex Crowell. The first game we're working on is a game called Knights and Bikes. It follows the adventure of two girls, Nessa and Demelza, as they investigate an island's medieval legends. And as they dig a little bit deeper, they find that they actually are immersed in the world, and the old world has come back to life. So one of the key themes of Knights and Bikes is imagination. So we really want to capture that feel of being a child again, and how the slightest idea can trigger your imagination. You can create this incredible world around you. And for me as a game developer, Unity kind of serves that same purpose. So it lets me take my ideas and channel them through Unity and create these fantastical worlds. And while Unity might not be as fast as a child's imagination, the worlds that I create are a bit more persistent, and I can package them up and share them with players across the globe. So I want to tell you the story of how Knights and Bikes kind of got started. So we're based in the UK, and as many of you know, a lot of UK projects sort of start with drinks at the pub. And a lot of these ideas don't really go anywhere, and that's sort of the trend. But Knights and Bikes was a little bit different because I wanted to learn Unity, so I downloaded it and just spent one evening making a quick little prototype, sent it over to Rex. And he didn't really respond, so I thought, like many of these games, it just kind of ran out of steam, and that's what happens. But a couple days later, I got a notification saying my Dropbox folder had been updated, which was kind of odd. I thought, maybe someone hacked my account or something. But when I loaded the project, my little prototype had come to life. Rex had put all these art assets in, put a character in, backgrounds, and converted a bunch of weird Google image search stuff into a harbor. And it was one of these weird moments for me where I thought, what a great time we live in, where creating a game is so easy that it was just the natural way for him to communicate back to me about what he thought about this idea that we'd been talking about. But not only is Unity incredibly fast, Unity is very flexible at all. So one of the things we're most happy with in Knights and Bikes is the art style. We think it really stands out. But it took us quite a while to sort of settle on the art style that we have. So the great thing about Unity is it never made us make any hard decisions up front. We never had to rule anything out. We could explore as much as we wanted. So we did loads of prototypes in 2D and 3D and all kinds of stuff. And even surprising to us, we ended up with a really weird mishmash of everything. So we use sprite sheet animations, we use skeletal animations, we use 3D models, generated meshes, special effects. I don't know, whatever it is, we could use it, and Unity supported it, and it all played nicely together, which was kind of surprising. So the other thing I want to talk about is, as Clive mentioned, there's only 2 of us. And so making a game like Knights and Bikes as a 2-person team is pretty intimidating. So Rex and I are both from a console games background, and we've been lucky enough to work on things like Ratchet & Clank, Little Big Planet, and Tearaway. But on each of those projects, we always had a dedicated engine group that anytime we had a question or feature request, just walk over and ask for it. So the idea of losing that kind of support was pretty scary. But with Unity, it hasn't been a problem at all. So basically, as I mentioned earlier in our prototyping, Unity has a huge feature set out of the box. But as you all know, being part of it, Unity also has a huge, vibrant, and active, helpful community. So any problem we encounter, any questions we have, there's always someone that's already been there who's happy to help. But on top of that, all you creators are very happy sharing your work as well. So through open source software and the asset store, we have even more stuff to grab from. So instead of feeling like we've kind of lost an engine group, it almost feels like we've met a bunch of new friends that are going to help us make this game, which is really awesome. But the other thing, and probably the most important thing about Unity, is how adaptable it is. So Knights and Bikes is a really personal project to both Rex and I. We're pouring our personal experiences and our childhoods into it. So there's all kinds of parts that we could never imagine someone else building for us. It's coming straight from our brains, and it's probably coming out in the most strange way possible. And so we really wanted to, the great thing about Unity is that it lets us focus on those things and build our own versions of the things that make Knights and Bikes unique and special. And so we're so grateful for Unity for letting us, or helping us bring this idea to life, and we can't wait to share it with the world. Speaking of which, I brought a little video that some of our friends have helped us make that'll show you some of the things you might encounter in Knights and Bikes.
Geese.
Puffins.
Puddles.
Lances.
Treasure.
Friends. Games.
Fun.
Danger.
Knights.
And
Bikes.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Moo.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Give it up again for Moo. One more time. I think he did great. He did great. OK. We're almost there. So everything that we've been talking about for the last hour and a bit is really fixated on the here and now. The technology for the here and now, the services for the here and now. Now we want to turn our attention, as we get to the last portion of the keynote, to the future. And the future is, in Unity is all about a group called Unity Labs. Unity Labs is a group of talented individuals who are looking out beyond where we are today into the 3, 5, and 10-year timeline to determine what's the technology and the techniques and the processes that global developers are going to need to create magic and to create great things. That's the first thing that the labs team do. The second thing that the labs team do is they work on shorter-term projects, projects that are kind of maybe 8 to 12 months out that can be augmented into the main trunk of Unity. And to talk to you about some of those is a great guy who I'm going to welcome to the stage right now. So please give a big hand for Sébastien Lagarde.
Hello, everybody. So, at Unity Labs, we aim at pushing physically based rendering further. And today, I want to present the latest finding about physically based light. Our graphic researcher, Eric Hartz and Jonathan Dupuis, have developed a new algorithm to lit a scene with area light in real time. But what is an area light? It's a light that has a physical size. It means it has a specific shape, like a rectangle or a quad. And it's actually very different than the traditional directional point or spotlight that you are used to use in your game, because this kind of light has no size. Let me show you a video about what it looks like. This scene is set up in the Adam room that in the demo that you saw earlier. We have added several area lights, and we have removed all the cinematic effects. You can see on the ground that the reflected lights match the various rectangular shape of the area light. This demo has been done by the Adam team, by the way. I will now show you a live demo. So, this is the scene that we just seen. And I should mention that our algorithm is working with polygonal shape, but here I only show rectangular shape. So we have an area light here. Of course, we can modify the color or the intensity. And when we move it here, you can see that we have immediately the change about the manipulation. We can change the X or Y size, of course. Rotate it. Yeah. And what is really interesting is when we look at the ground surfaces and we change the smoothness, decrease or increase it, it's blurred correctly, actually. And the difference with the point light, so here is the point light here that I enable. So this stuff. And if I take my surfaces and make it almost perfectly smooth, you can see that the highlight of the point light here is almost disappearing. It's because it's a point light, it has no size compared to the rectangular shape of the area light. So, area light are great tools. But why area light are so important? It's because in the real world, point and spotlight don't exist. It's a convenient approximation for real-time application, but if you want a realistic image, you must use area light. This is something that the VFX industry is well aware. Lighting in CGFX rely on area light, making blending between CG or capture frame almost impossible to distinct. Another benefit of area light is that it reduces shading aliasing a lot, which is a big offender regarding PBR. Point or spotlight, they tend to create flickering by spot on moving images. So our area light looks great, but the magic behind is that it's not only beautiful, it's physically accurate. It's not an arbitrary behavior. When we said that at Unity Labs we solve art problem, we really mean it. The lighting behavior is controlled by mathematical equation, and the maths that drive this technique is not simple to understand. But the code that we release with our application is simple. Accuracy is what made our lights great compared to the other techniques that you may have seen on the internet. It ensures that our area light works correctly in various conditions, which is the promise of PBR. For those looking for more information about our works, you can access today the technical detail on Unity Labs' website. There is a blog post summing up the technique, there is a white paper, and there is a downloadable package for Unity with source code that you can play with. So it's still experimental work. It's not ready for production. So have fun, give us feedback, but don't use it for your game in production yet. We still work on it. There is no area shadow support, and it's not fully optimized. I want to mention that at SIGGRAPH this year, our graphics researcher will give a talk about this technique. It's called real-time polygonal shading with linear transform cosine. So it's like it has been generated by a generator, but if you get the title, you can see the SIGGRAPH talk, as you can use our application. And now I want to introduce Amir. So Amir will present another great feature at Unity Labs.
Thanks, man. No, good. So Seb's in our Paris team in Labs. I work in the San Francisco group, and we're looking at authoring VR in VR. We've demoed this at the Vision Summit earlier this year and also at GDC. And I'm going to do a demo for you. So I downloaded some assets from the Unity asset store, the Warzone pack. They were just some free assets that I found, and they're not meant for VR, but I built a VR game. And now I get to hide from you all. But before I do that, let me show you the scene that I have. So I've built out, with these assets, I've built out, this is a mini game where I'm going to drive around and shoot at stuff. And I've built out these, one of the bases that would be my base. But I'm going to go ahead and add a few extra assets to that. I think it'd be cool if I had more vehicles in my arsenal. So I'm going to go ahead and drag those out. And if you're building VR apps right now, you're probably placing objects this way currently. And then, of course, I want to test that out, so hop into VR. Let me go see how these look. Now that's either a giant vehicle or the scale's off. So actually the scale's off on that. And what I'd have to do normally, unless I had if I was a solo developer, I'd have to pull the HMD off. But, or if I had another developer, they would be sitting at the computer while I'm in VR and probably adjusting scale. So yeah, let's take, if I was doing it this way, I would go in, scale the object down, the whole object. And then I would go back into play mode and check whether that's the right size. So it's kind of the right size. But let's do this in Editor VR. So this is the chessboard. It allows me to work on my scene, the larger scene, right from this easy-to-use interface. So I'm going to go ahead and spawn that same vehicle. And being right up against it, I can move myself over and notice that the top of this tire is way too large. It should probably be about waist height. So let me just scale that down. And I'll move over. Neat thing is, in VR, the near field just feels cool. It's like the tire's right there, and that's the right size. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Let's set up our opponent base. Just going to move over to the other side of the map. And I can zoom all the way out on this map and see the full map. Then I'm going to go and reset my camera. So I teleported over here now. Let me place a few things down. And it's wherever I'm looking that these things drop down. So I'll put my base right there, and yeah, let's put that right there. I want a helipad too, because that's just cool to have. Oh. Fix that. Drop that down, put a helicopter. There we go. And yeah, we need some resources that we're going to protect, of course. So I'll throw those in there. Move this back over here. I think it'd be good if I also threw a few walls around me. Let me just fix that. Oh. Wow, I'm shaky. Okay, so let's take a look at that. New feature, a new feature is play mode. So I can now just switch right into play mode without taking my headset off. Now, I can see that I didn't quite get this wall correct. So I'm going to pop out of play mode. And I'm just going to go ahead and fix that. Okay. I'm going to move myself to a better vantage point. So I can see that. Sorry, I'm shaky. All right, that looks good. But, you know, this is the opposing team. I usually like to stack the decks, so let's let me add one more thing on over at my base. Okay. Pop the camera over there. Yeah, let's go see what I got. And yeah, it looks about right. I think that would probably stack the deck. Let me get that on the ground, though. Oh well. All right, so yeah, let's see what that looks like in play mode. Looks pretty good. That's Editor VR. So this will be available in Q4 of this year, and I'm happy to announce that we'll open source all our tools, so you'll have all the code of our tools, and we're looking forward to having you guys build Editor VR extensions and post those on the asset store. Thank you.
So, thank you, Amir. I mean, we have clearly entered the matrix. It's incredible that you're now creating VR from within VR. So, I want to finish this keynote by emphasizing why we're here. At Unity, as I said earlier, we put developers first. We're here to serve the developer. We take our mission really seriously. And behind that, we take our principles seriously. These principles guide everything we do. Democratization, solving hard problems, enabling your success by helping you monetize your games. So that's what we're about. We showed you a lot today. Next up, we have Josh Naylor, who's going to talk to you about what happens next. And thank you for being part of Unite Europe and our keynote.
Thank you, John. Hey, guys. Awesome to be here. So many familiar faces traveling and meeting you guys. And this year is going to be a bigger and better Unite Europe than last year. And for me, European developers are the best because I look after this region. But so if you don't know me, I'm one of those evangelist people. I'm the type of person that goes around knocking on people's doors saying, hey, have you heard the word about unity? This is kind of like the church. So it's my job as an evangelist to go around and inform you guys, train and help you so you guys can be more successful. And then in turn, you guys become the evangelists. You spread the word about your games, the services, the products, and it makes my job just a little bit easier. Because this is the area that we cover. There's 8 of us, evangelists and field engineers, and these are the countries that we've been to since we was last in this room. So if there's something on there where there's another country on there where you're from and we've not been, come see us, come talk to us, let us know that you want us to go there. We're really, really trying our best to meet every single person. Studio visits, user groups, certification exams, game jams, conferences, universities. We want to see everybody. But finally, you've come to us. And it's going to be an amazing 3 days, 4 tracks of amazing content. And number 5 is a Made with Unity tent with 35 absolutely stunning games. One of the best things about Unity is the amazing genres and types of games and experiences that you all create. And that just says something about the power of the engine and what you guys have in your crazy heads. So we've got the expo floor, which is behind us. We've got booths full of sponsors, partners, asset store publishers, space for networking at the bar areas. We've got our own Ask the Expert section, where you can come talk to us and ask us all of the technical questions. And booth 25 is where the speakers will go after their sessions. We've got the party tomorrow, and I heard we have some amazing swag. We've got Chipsel, she's one of my favorite artists, and you guys can also reclaim your t-shirts with your badges as well. We've got a series of Women in Games lunch tomorrow. We've got Fiona Sperry speaking about her knowledge as an ex-studio director and onto her new ventures with Free Field Games. You can also get certified. So we've got 2 fully booked sessions right now, and we've put on a 3rd one. Become a recognized Unity developer and get an awesome t-shirt like this. And we have an app. You can share your statuses, your photos, sessions that you're attending, put them into your calendar. You can direct message other conference goers and check the list of Made with Unity games. So we really, really, really need your feedback to say what was awesome and what can be improved next year. I want to say a big thank you to our sponsors and partners. They've all got the booths outside, so go check them out. But most importantly, thank you to you guys, our community, for creating awesome content and experiences. Without what you guys are making, we would not be able to put on this kind of showcase. So the next few days, I want you to soak up as much knowledge and experience as possible from everybody in this room and embed yourself in the community and just have an awesome show. Thank you very much for you guys for coming.